I've been super pumped for these mudguards since I found out they existed. I don't actually remember where I first found out about them, but most recently they've been in a Global Cycling Network video. Mine arrived in the mail before that video went up, but I just have not had the time to install them, and fortunately it hasn't been rainy enough where I've needed them. There are a lot of things I really love about these fenders. One of the things I most love is that they're made in the UK. I know I would prefer them to be made in the US, but there's nobody in the US making a product quite like this. Being a bicycle-related product, generally speaking, it falls under the general category of eco-friendly in my mind. But one thing I super love that's an attention to detail is that the instructions are not a printed packet. The instructions are actually the packaging itself. It never even occurred to me to be a thing you could do, and now that I see it, I don't know why more people don't do it. The product itself is made of plastic, which doesn't make me the happiest, but you know, metal and plastic are both problematic in their own way. One advantage to being all plastic is that you don't need tools to install these. And this is coming from me, someone who really loves working with tools and making things happen. I just really like that I can just stick these on my bike and move on with my life. In a similar vein, since you don't need tools and it's held on by these little Velcro strips, I could actually get a second strut of Velcro strips and put these fenders on my unnamed bicycle. As I said, these are held on with these Duotech strips. It's really just sciencey Velcro. Instead of being fabric, it's all plastic and they just stick together. And so these strips will go on the frame inside my fork and my seat stays. To install those properly, there's this alcohol wipe just to make sure that the frame is super clean. The kit also comes with these little, they call them pile strips. They're really just furry adhesive strips. They go on the inside of the fender, and this serves two purposes. This keeps the fender centered over the wheel, and it also, if you have traditional rim brakes, keeps the rim surface clear, which will actually improve braking in icky conditions. Other things in the kit, you've got these little rubber pads that you can stick on the frame just to prevent rubbing. That way, if this is sticking under your fork in such a way, you won't end up losing paint, which could then compromise your frame further down the line. You have a reusable zip tie and these little plastic nut bolt combo, and that's just to hold parts of the fender together. You do the front fender first. These two pieces are identical, and really, I don't know why more manufacturers don't take cues from this, because both wheels are the same size. You have the little extender for both the front and the rear, and that just makes the identical piece custom for the front or wheel. That's the differentiation there. Take off a little piece of sticky tape on the front of that, and this slots together. And you're just going to give that a nice firm hold for about 30 seconds. All that's left is to line up the fender then through your brake. If you have rim brakes, you got to kind of note where these Velcro strips are going to fall, and then put the Velcro strips on your frame. As I said earlier, you're going to take this lovely little wipey, and you're going to take your frame, which should already be pretty clean if you clean your frame regularly, and hit it with this little alcohol wipe. Also up here on your seat stays, got the fender here. I marked with a little wax pencil just about where my fenders will need to be, so I've got these sticky strips ready to go. And you do the same for the rear, right in here. And your accuracy in placing these doesn't have to be super tremendous because the Velcro strips are longer than the Velcro strips on the fenders. The front fender is going to be the easiest because we really just have to put it on. Slide it in like this, and you stick the Velcro to the Velcro. You can see I've got a little rub up here, but I can adjust. Until I get it right. There you have it. No noise, no rubbing. And for the rear, it's a similar situation. Just a little rubbing, which I still have to figure out. The next step here is to connect this fender extension down to protect your front derailleur and your chainstays and your cranks and all that. And so this just slots together much like the front fork did, or the front fender did. You have a little nut and bolt here. And that just about fixed my rubbing problem. There is an optional reusable zip tie that can go through the fender, which I do believe I'll be using here. And this is reusable so that you can use it on a number of bicycles if you have more than one, or if you ever do swap bicycles. There's just a little slot in the fender. You bring this around. You can trim this front blade to keep it from getting caught in your chainstays. I may do that later if I notice some rubbing. The final thing to do is to take those anti-reflection dampers and stick them in the frame just to make sure that the fenders don't rub your paint off. I'll just be sticking a matching pair up in here where the fender meets the crown. The last thing I forgot is to put these little pile strips on the inside of your fenders here to keep the blades of the fender from hitting your tire. They act as a nice cushy separation, but they also clean off your rim brakes if you have rim brakes on your bicycle. Did I have to bike to work today? No. Did I want to? Yeah. Finally got the fenders installed. Wanted to see how they do. So far, I'm a mile and a half in. My butt is dry. And having used these fenders a couple weeks in, I'd say my butt is much drier than it used to be before. These at the moment are scoring somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 out of 10. They are a little tricky to get installed just right, especially if you take them off and put them back on again. But they're made in the UK. They require no tools. They're nice and simple. The packaging is incredible. 8 out of 10. Would recommend.